Are we talking about hacking the on button?
Last week we discussed that a screw is not a key. So I know people are not understanding this, but let me try to explain it again. A keli is something, a pencil is a keli. If the phone is a keli, the keys is a keli. Something that's raw material. A screw is not a vessel right now. A screw is made to screw something in, to tighten something in, and it's just raw. It's like a piece of wood, a 2x4. You have a 2x4 in the garage. It's not a keli. It is possible to use it for something. So right now that's called raw material. Screws, nails.
Even though it's been processed and made into a specific material. I mean, they had to take iron or metal or whatever, melt it down, make a mold for it.
A 2x4 was also processed. The 2x4 is, it doesn't grow 2x4s on the trees. They process it. Same idea. And it's raw.
Right.
What is it?
The screw is not a keli.
Yeah, the screw is not a keli. It's made to connect things. Right now it's raw. See, a 2x4 is also raw. It's true, they work very hard to make a 2x4. But right now, it's not a kli. It's raw material which you are going to use to make something from it. Like it's a 2x4, screws or metal rods. Everything is, manufactured, but it's raw material to be used for something.
Once you make it into something, if I take a 2x4 and put it on top of my sukkah, is that it now?
Right. If you made it into something, a keli, then it becomes a keli. Like I explained last week, I'm going to repeat this again. I explained that. Let's see, we take a 2x4 to keep the door open. The door is broken. Nowadays, see, a wood is different. Wood could be, but let's take a stone. I explained this last week with the stone. I have a stone. I said a stone. I noticed the guy having a brick holding the door open. So I asked him, what is this? Yeah, the door broke, and we're having a disagreement with the landlord. We should fix it. So that brick is Muktzeh. Why? No one uses nowadays a brick for a door stopper or to keep the door open. It doesn't exist. We live in a society where everything has a door stopper, is a door stopper, and everything is they were just arguing, now the question is this raw brick, how long is it going to be there? We learn later this is that's something that we know for sure is not going to be there forever. For sure no one uses it, that stays Muktzeh. So that stone, even though right now it's keeping the door open, it is a stone that's Muktzeh, unless you designate it forever. Will I understand? Because it's something raw, it's not used for that. But if I make, like I explained last week, a pen is a keli shalach d'leisen. Theoretically speaking, I use my pen all week long, but I learn. Eyes, you get a little older, my eyes does not focus so quickly, but so the pen is those two functions. That's okay, which not this, and it goes as a head. Okay? So that's why it's screw. So the question was last week, so over here, the door was kept open with a screw. So the discussion was, is that screw Muktzeh or not Muktzeh?
Well, I guess, first of all, the most important thing is the Shiurim. But just to know the story of the screw, is that it's time to know that if not for the person who offered to help, we designated the screw. Right. Designated meaning that it was actually ruined to be used as a screw because it was used. So there was a shinoi with the intent inside. And my intention was to use it forever. After 8 months, he came and offered to do something, so I took his offer. But with CD, it was good. It was a good attempt. Same screw.
What's the significance of a stone different figure?
A stone, this will be better explained last week. I want to make this clear again. There is something that's a keli and something that's not a keli. That's the difference. A pen, keys, a stone is nothing.
It's not made. What was the significance? What was the difference? You said that you noticed that it's Muktzeh. My question is for what? Nobody's touching it.
No, they were moving it around.
Oh, they were moving it around.
You can keep it with your feet, right?
You kick with the feet, whatever, but they were moving around. That was the problem. That's the problem.
So in that situation, you use a chair.
Yeah.
But if the stones that are designated to throw on cars that drive through neighborhoods, they're designated.
Yeah, definitely forever.
They're designated forever. That's
It's a straw.
they're designated.
They grow like that.
And they make a hecket on it. They have to physically.
Halacha it's worthless. They scream about this. And when they throw the stones on the cars and the canoe. But it is Muktzeh, it doesn't help.
Even if it was designated with the hecket, and it was made to be used forever for that.
Well, it's not. You're not going to find the right stone. No, it is. It's a joke because the throwing stone was the driving, but the bottom line is the stone is Muktzeh. It really is Muktzeh. Even though you said, I will throw stones, the stones are Muktzeh. Okay. So we started with
To Dalit.
That's a Dalit. That's Dalit. He says, Chola Kelim, Shen Omim L'Schoida. You have a Schoida. You know, I have some in my community who a lady sells dresses. Stopped doing it, but she used to sell dresses in the basement. Selling the Schoida. Now dresses you can put on, there's nothing enough to take apart. So he might put the lem sheshtam b'im shim tashmish. You don't want it to be used for anything. It doesn't have to be very expensive. I want to tell you this line. All the poskim called out Tauber. He says that a keli shemalachta, a chsurim kiss. We're talking about something that is very expensive, or something that is merchandise. Now, the Rab added, if it's not expensive, and the only time it's Muktzeh, if it's not merchandise, it's expensive, it's only Muktzeh if it's a keish not delisa. What happens if your wife has in the China closet, she has an expensive vase. I was with someone who was a collector, and he showed me that he has a kais from the 1600s. I don't know how much it's worth, but it's interesting. There are people who collect antiques from the old generation, really have expensive antiques. This is very old, it's worth a lot of money. It's just a kais. It's very interesting, it was very small, those little kais from the 1600s. This is very expensive, but it's a keish nachtalete. He's not going to use it, but the bottom line is, it's a kais that was used for kiddush, it's called the keish nachtalete, even though it is expensive. That's the famous Rab that everyone quotes, and they argue. Now, come out, most of the Chaim to the Shulchan Aruch, and they say that there has to be a chsorim kiss, has to be keish nachtalete. If just because it's very expensive, and you don't plan to use it, you don't want anything to touch it. Let's have you a picture. I was in someone's house, he had a stunning painting of the Rabbi. He told me he was a very choshev artist to do. And I want to, doesn't let people touch it, don't touch it. It's an old painting, I don't know. I'll do one. It doesn't make a difference. It's a keish nachtalete, and it's not Muktzeh. Even though you don't want anyone to touch it. Doesn't make a difference. It has to be something expensive. When we say it's a chsorim kiss, but it's nachtalete. Like it explains. Magdalene Shtamush Bem, maybe up to. Magdalene Shtamush Bem, Tashush Acha, Yivsri, the main Usar Tauber Shabbat. You mark it, it shouldn't lose its value. Then it's Muktzeh. For the Tzerich B'Kaimer, if you want to use the place. I want to use this place where this expensive item is. Today, it's the iPhone or any smartphone. Most people I notice do not let children play with the phones. Most, right? You have children, let them to play. One guy told me his wife, but he himself doesn't let his children play. So it's a chsorim kiss, so you left on the table, the most annoying thing for a wife, you left the iPhone there, you cannot move it with your hands.
If I don't care about the phone, but I care about the contents on the phone.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Can you move it for tzar and payment?
You can do it, they cannot do it tzedek b'kaimer.
Not
with your hands.
But you can move it back with your hands.
Yeah, because look at
I don't know if I ever said the story over last year. I'm not sure if I said it over here. So last year a guy came to me and he bought a new phone. So he went to he changed one type of phone, and the guy says, "I'm going to download his new phone, all information." He must have did something wrong and everything was wiped out. And he didn't have a backup from his, they always tell you back it up in your computer. And he was fuming.
Sure.
Yeah. He wanted to say he's a mazik, and I said, "He's not a mazik." It was a mazik. It's a gruma sheba gruma. You have a headache to find connections and you know, he wanted to go to the Torah, I'm going to sue him. Understand what happened? He wiped out all his information. And it's silly just not to, the phone could fall to water, But anyway, it doesn't make a difference.
Why is that not called damages?
It's called damages, but it's a gruma. It's not a damage that you count. It's called a gruma. Less than a gruma by mistake, you don't have to pay. It's not a mazik. The guy, something like that. It's called a gruma. I wiped out your information and then I grummed it away. You don't have hesitation.
My computer's damaged. My computer's information was damaged.
It wasn't
It
damaged. It
cost
was
me
wiped out.
$1,500 to get it back.
No. We're talking about if you damage the computer, he put in a virus. That's one thing. He just by mistake erased all your information.
Right. So I'm saying, there are ways of recovering data when it's been erased. But it costs a lot of money to do it.
So it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference if it costs money. The point is, it's only an agroma. There's no hezek, monetary hezek. That phone,
Time is money. They don't get it.
that you don't pay. The Torah doesn't. That's the difference in the Torah and the God. But the Choshen, it has to be mazik something now that is a value. But if this is called an agroma and it was not mischavan hazik, you don't have to pay. I said it to the guy at the wrong time because he was still so angry. He became angry at me.
How does shifting with the back of the hand work?
Now that tiltul the chazal or matir kalach riyad. Period. Normally the rabbanim is not with the kalach riyad. Anything that's us in the rabbanim, you're not allowed to carry in a kabbalas, right? You're not allowed. There's no head to carry kalach riyad in the kabbalas. Muktzeh, the Chazal said, if you do it with the Shiurim, it's not called tiltul. Period.
All of the reasons.
No. Glove is that you carry something, you put up the back of your hand.
So it's the shinoi that makes it.
Yeah, not the normal way of doing it.
Any muktzeh?
Any muktzeh.
In any case.
Any case.
But you lift it with like a newspaper or something like that.
Now that's not so related. That's not such a real shini.
Newspaper. So if the kids are
Newspaper that you got on Friday.
No, but that's something else. You're picking up something in a plate and see later. But shini means with the back of your hand.
So that means a candle, labra on the table?
Candle on?
Candle, labra on the table?
Yeah, it's also in case I explained last week because unless it's not silver. Also I have a silver, right? That becomes very expensive. So maybe you're allowed to move it with the back of your hands.
Even though you had your Shabbos lights on.
Yeah, but it is today.
But if you need the space, then if I have a piece of color,
That's something else. We're going to get the ladies all about
We got to that's a simple.
Isn't that Muktzeh ben Shmoshes?
Wait, that's a buses, wait.
That's something else. We're talking about, forget the buses, we're talking about
Not the buses, the fact that it's burning a ben Shmoshes.
that's a separate issue. Let's talk about a lighter that's not burning.
Okay,
Most people, it's a silver lighter your wife has, silver? If it's silver, it's chasson kiss. It's a geish machtalisa, but it's silver, she's not going to use it for anything. If it's not silver, you might use it for anything, but you're not marked on it to use it for anything else. So if it's silver, it becomes chasson kiss. I always joke to people, if you're Hungarian, then the Hungarians have a hang up in the lighters. It's got to be
Not just Hungarians, there's some else.
The silver cup with the collectors, that would be considered muktzeh because he would
No.
never use it or no?
No.
silver cover.
That's
That's
malach
the
the
time you do if he has it.
That's just what I explained. It's malachto leheta. Since even though she would never allow you to use it, but the bottom line, it's a simple cuss,
Right.
and it's very old, and they keep it in the, doesn't
That
matter.
applies to the dressmaker also the same thing.
No. The dressmaker doesn't want people to use it.
Dressmaker doesn't want, that's something, that's schoire. Schoire is something else. Schoire merchandise has a separate halacha. merchandise, you don't want anyone to, you selling merchandise, you put it away and give it all now. But if it's a keli, not merchandise, just you have at home a very expensive thing, that is just, doesn't make, if it's not a malachta it's not muktzeh.
But if you're in the business of selling
That's something
entities,
else, yes.
Then you're right. So, even though, right.
you can.
So just to get it straight, so if you have a keli shemalach delata, then you can always use it. If it's a keli shemalach delisser, you can move it or use it.
Well, Kedish Machta is, we're going to learn. Kedish Machta is, we're going to learn in a minute. You're allowed to, without it, it's a good for you. If I left the hammer on the table, I'm allowed to go over there. I want to sit and learn, pick up the hammer, put it away.
No.
The biggest problem we have is not the hammer. Your wife gets annoyed at us, because my wife, I left the cell phone in the wrong place. The hammer, we don't have hammers anymore. You just leave the cell on the Shabbos table, you have to leave it from, you know, I mean, that's, so the only way you can move it is if you serve your hand.
What's it? So what is? I'm just trying to get the basics. So if a keli shemalach delisser and I need it,
You're allowed to move
I can use it anyway
Regular.
with your hands.
If it's totally muktzeh. A leichter is silver leichter is expensive. It's a kenshmach lister. You're not allowed to move it even only with the back of your hand.
Can I ask a 2-year-old to remove it?
Well, you're not really small.
Why would you do that?
There are-
Why would you do that? If you can do it, kvar hayab, why would you educate your kids?
There's a whole lot of things about that. Get this, that's a whole
Spoke
lot.
about here in
They always
the
say-
beginning of my comment, I'm opening a public life. Spoke about
Should get used to it. Whatever, there's a whole lot. But I just want to say, you'll always find a person who say a leichter is not a sun kiss. But nowadays a leichter is a sun.
because it's very expensive.
It's very expensive. I will tell you a cute story. 20 years ago, more than 20, sorry, 30 years ago, there was a break-in by people in Williamsburg. And we stole the Schwarzes, they were stealing life. This guy comes into the silver store and she says, "This is my life." What are you talking about? What are you talking about? My life? This is my life. She says, "I want to show you something." She picks up the light, turns it up, takes off the cover and pulls out her suit. The Schwarzes stole it, and they sold it to this guy bought it off from the Schwarzes. It was a whole tumult of it.
So what's the question, Mishpat? Does he have to give it to her, or can he keep it and
Well,
provide it?
probably not because he was V'yash.
But at least she didn't need a nuksuba, she didn't need a
He
ksuba.
was V'yash. Who was V'yash? She was V'yash. So he doesn't know. Of course she was. You know, anything gets stolen, forget it. I don't know if you have you should have a
What if you're not the Irish though?
Normally,
Doesn't matter what you feel, it's just the
Matters
fact
what you
that
feel.
it's stolen, it's the
you
Irish.
know that's something. You never had anything stolen?
Yeah, but,
Because I got anything. The Schwarzes didn't make it.
yeah. Maybe enough to think so, yeah.
But
Not that you would give it back, but that's some way else.
She knew that she had a sin in it, right?
No. Right there.
It's
He didn't know
not-
she was going to find it in a store in Williamsburg.
Whoever doesn't know what the ksuba should speak to me tonight. You cannot be with your wives until you have a ksuba. Mom. That's it.
And monetary things that he is. She's
Okay. Your wife is in
okay, what's that?
I think that's come on.
Very important.
The Hashish, the Heinisch, zu der Stammisch, Stash, Mukim, Shikazim, in the Shovel, Zerekufoin, and Shelim, the Stammisch, Stash, Gifkeit himself. He wants to use the life of something. Now, the Alter Rebbe adds something also, which all the Achronim read. The Hish, Nimlech, Kemich, Shecha. I mean, let's say I decided to use the life of the Shabbos, only after it got dark. That's Muktzeh. Let's say Erev Shabbos, this Shabbos, I need a paperweight. I need a light to hold up the window. And normally it's a Chasam Kiss, I wouldn't do it. But if you had a mind before Shabbos to do it, there's a big tzad that it's okay. That's what he says in the parentheses. Nimmer ken by yoim mitre tauterish and shuva me eres the Muktzeh chumash bar. We'll see later. Zeh Muktzeh nikmitz machsum says. Now I want to tell you this parentheses. I wish I would have enough time, but this was a huge tumult in the Achronim, the late Achronim. not in Chabad, in the Pesach. And many hold what the Alter Rebbe meant to say that if you decide Friday to use the Leichter, this Shabbos or something is not good enough. You have to say from now on, I'm going to use the Leichter for other things. But if you say this Shabbos I'm going to have a guest and I happen to need the Leichter for something else, you're going to keep the window open just to the Shabbos, it's not good enough. Others held differently, but we'll see later what this question is built on another, so see
To
later.
understand, you're saying something that has great value, that normally would be Muktzeh, if the guy that Shabbos said, hey, even though it has great value, I'm going to use it for
If
something,
you said it before Shabbos, so the words of the Ram seem to indicate
that Shabbos alone
it's not
Muktzeh.
Others learn that's not what the Rav meant. Because there's a stira later we'll learn the Rav meant to say a long time. From now on, I'll use this as a window opener. Forever. We'll later see what this question is
There's
based
a
on.
big difference also between thought and doing something in the object. We'll see
So
later
just
also.
thinking, we're talking about just thinking itself is enough. Just thinking.
But only, this is only for Keli. It's not
That's
considered.
it. That's just okay, so the Rav had the Chisakin shel Shchita, a knife of Shchita, Shamila, and a knife of a moil. The Ismail shel Svurim, you know, they used to have a special knife to bind the cuts of the Svurim. The Sakin shel Sofli shel Sakin bar Komasun. Every house, once upon a time, there was no pens in the wayside. Today, it's amazing. I mean, there's two things that people you know would shoot: pens, expensive pens. You know, I have a bag of pens in my office over here. You know, like I'm not looking for cheap pens, pocket pens. I don't know, but beside, no one comes. You know, but anyway, so those days you had a quill, and everyone needed a knife, a special knife to keep on sharpening the quill. Shemsakel cannot call some Kimish McPinish and Stammel Tashmish Achar Mitte Beshabe Usel Tauber, the Tzorgi from the This was Keli Shemalach the Chasurim Kiss. It was awesome, and people were very mindful. I see a Moyer, a Shoichet, all the other guys I don't know what it is, but they're very mindful not to use it, he says.
So this is different. We just said that some kids is the things you have set aside for merchandise, or something which is very expensive.
Right.
So here we have something that's not necessarily expensive.
Well, yes, you would not, it doesn't mean expensive we understand.
There's value.
Something that you don't want to use anything, you don't want to move it. The Moyer will never let anyone use his knife.
Just how you carve the yoser.
Yeah, we used to say it's expensive, that's the sign. Symbolically, it's expensive, so you don't want anyone to use it for anything. So they have a knife.
Is this the steer to we said before about the becher?
Right.
The Bech is a kelish machne leheter.
What?
A Bech
The
is...
sack steer of Mila, I could cut out with it.
No,
Yeah,
it's
you're
not
right,
made for
we're
that.
talking about, but it's not designated for that. A Moyer Mesa is designated to use for this. Happens to be, he ran out of knives, so he wants to use the knife for chal. So that's the question. But you follow? So we're talking about the knife is made for Issa. The shoichet knife is made for Issa. Now Shabbos wants to use it. By the way, this happens to be in Vidachos. It says, do not use a shoichet knife to cut bread and a moed knife not to cut bread. It's a seven.
Discussion.
Yeah. No, just don't do it. It's not.
It's not hygienic.
I didn't mean the chassid from the later ones bring this down.
Isn't a shchita knife not kosher, technically?
Oh,
No,
that's
no, we
not-
learn
It's
about
not kosher, a shchita knife, no?
Why is it not kosher?
Blood.
If it's clean, it was cleaned off, it's okay.
We learn about this in the smart.
Yeah, that's okay. If it's washed off, it's okay.
Can the male, if he's going to
On Mila you do on Shabbos, so why is it?
That's a separate question.
That's
She and Aleph, this question is discussed in all the Chayim. We have all the Shachim, Taz, and all the many, the two shittas. See, a Moemes, a Motzeh Shabbos, Friday night, was Muktzeh. You don't make a bris Friday night. So the question is, since I know tomorrow morning you're making a bris, is it this Shabbos Kesh Machbeleter, or this Shabbos? Most Oiskim hold. The Taz was the one that said, look, I'm going to use the Shabbos, so maybe it's not Muktzeh. Come on, all the Chayim disagree. All the Chayim held that the bottom line is Friday night, you don't make a bris. So you're allowed to make the bris, you're allowed to make a bris. Of course, you cannot make tiltal. Afterwards, it's Muktzeh, because you don't plan to use it afterwards. So you should know that the moil, in the crowd, moilim are soymech on the das yichidah. Even the Rabbi Shemoyels, I'm almost sure the Rabbi's Machma once asked to watch the Rabbi Shemoyel Shabbos also moved it. Because otherwise they're not going to do it. But the Minkat Rebbe, was the Minchas Aruz, was a famous moil, he had a chain around him, when he made the bris, the hung from it. But you understand, that's a machlokes in the pasuk, what you just asked. A bris knife, Friday night, you're not going to use it. So it should be muktzeh. Even though you plan to use it in the morning, but just from one cut. That's a big machlokes.
So I didn't get the last person. They rely on what exactly?
Today they don't do this. They line the Terezuv says it's not a problem.
No, the concept is if anything that was made to be used on Shabbos is not Muktzeh. So anything which is allowed to be used on Shabbos was made also to be used on Shabbos.
It's not Muktzeh, the entire Shabbos.
That's what we just, Rabbi Tauber just
So
addressed.
this Shabbos
That's
is
not
also
machlokes.
really Thomas also.
Because according to the other opinion, you say he make the bris, you have to drop the knife.
Drop it, throw it away.
Leave it. Well, why is that going to something
Put
that's
it down,
supposed
leave
to
it there. Move it kalachayat.
Once it's in your hand, you don't have to.
When I tell you that, in Shina with Aleph, it says for Paskins, not like the Taz, he Paskins there is muktzeh. He says,
Right after
as
the
long as you have it in the hand, you're allowed to put it away.
Right after the-
So right after this,
Why did the Munkac drop it? Why did
He
he?
didn't
No,
drop
like
it,
a
he didn't
rock.
drop it, he didn't want to leave it in the
you
shul.
want to leave it in the shoe.
Well, you put it down where you're gonna put it down.
You know, the Chassidim have an interesting way of doing things.
No.
When I was a young child, I'll never forget this. I was 9 years old the first time I heard this. One of the Rebbes had the bells of Rebbe's shirt, and he put it on his son when he got married. And I remember it was the pupper was very elderly. So that night it was stolen. It was a great demand. The bells of Rebbe's shirt. No, don't say it's stolen. It's a Nelan developed.
We call it a Hasidic neighbor, that's how we say it.
Minkat Rebbe knew that if he puts on the knife, it's going to disappear. The Rebbe's knife.
So ideally, a moil should do the bris and then basically put it away and.
Well, either that, I don't know if the Rabbi brings out, others have another eight, say give it to someone, let him put it away. Because as long as you're holding, you're allowed to move it around.
Once you have books in your hand.
Once you have the books in the hand, once you have you finish the bris, you have the thing in your hand, you're allowed to move around. So others hold, give it to someone, and let that someone put it away. That's what the Shiurim brings from the Eli Rabbi. You understand? The Moil should do it, give it to someone, and then go, pick it up and put it away. A Persian Moil told me that he made a bris in a city of Goyim. He put the Moil right away, he put it on top, next to the door. He forgot about it. 13 years later, he came back to the shul, he found the Moil messed it up. Wow.
No one cleaned the shul for 13 years.
I think Rabbi Kaplan had a bris on Shabbos many years ago.
I don't like it.
Rabbi?
Okay.
What do you do with that?
You should have known.
Huh?
So we passed like they should.
You take it home on Shabbos.
He did, he washed with it. Why not?
So let's move on. Zuk der Rabbi, Fille in Masakim Azeh, Tuche Benadim in Sekinim Achayim. This expensive knife is between the other knife. Ein Omenim Shemin Astam, Ein Makbidul of Klal. Toch Benadim Shalom. We don't say Stam is not Makbid. It's very hard for us to have this picture. Because the Moil, we do understand. And a Shochet's knife, we also, Shochet is so paranoid with the knives. But he's saying if the guy put the knife between them, they used to have a knob and a holder of knives. So just because you put it with other knife doesn't mean he's not makbid, he's still makbid. So it says Muktzeh. So the Bekomukim the Rav says, Ein Yitzel Hoitzi Sakes Em Nabim, or the Talp Nabim Sakes El Ach Shoitz V'Doch Shara Sakim. Now this is an important halacha. That means I cannot move the holder of the knife if only this expensive knife is in it. Or all the knives are taken out. What happens? I put this expensive knife between all the other knives. So this holder has two things: expensive knife and a cheap knife. This is we're going to discuss a lot later in the Shulchan Aruch. Remember last week I told this to your young people. You should have a mixer drawer. You know, the teacher and the boys in Chabad over there, they all keep their iPods in the drawer with clothing. I says, you couldn't care less about your shirts. Not iPod or iTouch, whatever they have, I don't know what they have. All them, teenagers are, wow, this is by them. So So it's really muktzeh machar son kiss. So you put it into a drawer with your clothing, that's a major problem. You can't even open the drawer. So it depends what it's more expensive. If the muktzeh is more expensive, it becomes a buses. But I don't want to get into all the details, but this makes it a problem. That's what the Rabbi is saying. So if this is it depends the value. So today, they don't have knives or so, which house doesn't have a lot of knives, but we are all these expensive things, iPod, iPhone, and all these things which where it's expensive, people, it's so kiss.
The buses goes after what's more expensive?
Chashuv.
The buses goes after what's more chashuv?
What's more chashuv, that makes it look so right.
For me, if a sefer is chashuv for me,
Right,
that's
that's
good.
more chashuv.
This seems to imply
So it's not
What?
you put a bencher by your life there.
Well, it doesn't really work like that. You're not going to give away the likeness for the bench.
That's
But people put this, they put a diamond ring. They put a diamond ring there, the jewelry gets more expensive.
They put on a cross gedol so much.
I always heard you put a safer or something.
That's a big machlekes. I remember that's a huge machlekes. It has to be, truly, even a Mekila, you have to be really in love with the Torah.
Okay, that's what it is.
I suspect if someone says you the Chumash or the Leichter, I have a suspicion.
You never know.
So what if you have knives that are used to a very expensive set of knives like people have today, and you put the shech knife, which is less, or the bris milah, it's less expensive but has more
That's what I
value.
was saying. Let's finish. You cannot move a sack as a manad no sheyesh chashash hefsid. The manad shezuch look manad. Look it up there. The kids that the Rabbi is saying, if this is very important. If I have something heter and iser, even if the iser is not more expensive, but the heter I have to really turn everything over. Let's say I have a drawer. I don't have a good mushroom. But let's say I have a drawer, muktzeh, not muktzeh. Theoretically speaking, if you can put it out and tilt it, if you're not afraid of any loss over here, shiva bacham. We're afraid our wives we can get over the head if we leave a mess. But shiva bacham, can take the drawer, turn it upside down. And so theoretically, you have a drawer with muktzeh, even though it's not more expensive than muktzeh, you can allow to be metaltal if you can turn everything over, just pick up the shirts and put it back in. We're going to have later cases. And today we don't have these interesting cases so much because we're living in a whole different world today. Let's say the table. If you have on the table muktzeh, not muktzeh, right? If you want to move the table. So if you have, let's say, the iPhone was left on the table. So theoretically, one of the ways you could do it, just pick up the table and it fall down. You can do that. Now, can you kick it? Now, this is a mistake that a lot of people don't know. The Shulchan Aruch holds you're only allowed to kick it derech halicha. The Mishnah Buddha Paskins, I'm allowed kicking is like with the back of my arm. The Rav clearly said kicking is not the back of the arm. It has to I'm allowed to act this way. I have a thing over there, I want to kick away. I have to walk that way, and as I'm walking, it gets kicked away. The Mishnah Buddha says, I could go over and just knock it with my foot. He holds kicking with a leg is called the shini, and the Rav doesn't say that.
But it's like using your hand, same thing as
He says, no, but you're allowed to walk, let's say it's laying on the floor, I'm going to walk that way.
That's the shini.
The Messiah Lefitimo, meaning as I'm walking, it's going to be knocked away, that's okay. This is very important. Now, one of the shalos people ask me is about children's toys. You have this expensive. If the child is under 6, or maybe even more than 6, the toys are not muktzeh, even though it has a battery. Because if the child is allowed to play with it, it's not muktzeh. If you let your child play with it on Shabbos, let's say, I don't know what age you decide to mechanech your children, but let's just say, Shulchan says before 6 there's no chinuch. So you're going to let your child play with his motorized, his car, or whatever they play with. That was always the problem. So, halachically speaking, it's not muktzeh, because it's made for the child to play. If you don't let the child play, then it's muktzeh. But if you let your child play with
for Shabbos.
What if one child?
How old is your child?
One is 4, one is 2. So let's say one I'm telling her not to, but I tell the 2 that you can.
That's good. It's still not muktzeh. It's designated for Shabbos.
But I don't know. The reason reason I don't let him to play with it because it's Muktzeh. What's the other reason? I don't like my kid.
A 4-year-old really is not a gil chalacha. But if you don't want him to play as a substitution, let's say the 2-year-old plays with it. He lets his 2-year-old play. So this is not an object of Muktzeh, because the child is allowed to play with it.
Even
Even as bad
it's like
it
one
is.
of those singing books.
Anything, everything. It was made for Shabbos, for you, because that's what the kid did.
But it's made for the child to play. They play with the child, right? So it's not. I know.
They do it anyway.
Why would you
Yeah.
encourage him to, why would you do that?
Well, he's 2 years old. 2 years old. I think he's 4 years old.
You have to pick your fights.
Yeah, 4-year-old. They don't know what Shabbos is exactly.
I'm saying no one wants their kids to use Muktzeh on Shabbos, no matter how young. But if you're not really thinking about it, you're like, oh, all right,
I
whatever.
don't think so.
People leave their singing books out for the kids to play for
Not
Shabbos.
many people who don't, I've seen that.
What about in your cup? For
A what?
in your cup?
Yeah, intercom is not, it's not.
Okay, that's.
That's a separate
That's what.
You're just a guest at someone's house, you don't have the kids.
That's not Muktzeh.
As a guest.
Yeah, it's also, see, I'm not telling you to wind it up and push the button and have the car run.
But you're allowed to move it.
Well, you gotta move it. Because
You
it's.
definitely can't do that, right?
Right, you can't.
Of course you can.
You can't turn it on for the
It's not nice or no.
What's frustrating for your wife? It's the toys are all over. And people are shipping. So you're busy. Should I kick it? Not kick it?
What about
The
his bells?
children play with it. It's no
What
problem.
about his bells? Like, some of these
It's
balls.
also not a problem.
It doesn't matter if
If the child plays with it, it's not a problem.
Even if they're
you're gonna make a sound.
You're not making a sound to make a sound. You're picking it up. You don't have the.
What if you
Unless you catch yours.
That's a
What if
good
there are no children present, does that matter?
What?
What if there are no children there at that time, does that matter? I'm saying someone's house and has kids, and they left toys out. I figure, oh, I'm gonna be nice and clean up a little bit for
No
them.
problem.
No problem.
Even though it's gonna, you're picking up the cleaner, it's gonna make noise now, it's not a problem.
Well, there's noise, the bell, there's noise electronic, 1 second, let's not confuse
No,
it.
I'm not going to, if it's electronic, you're making it work.
That's prohibited.
That's something, we're not talking about
It's not
some of the
Muktzeh,
toys you pick up and it goes on, right? We're not talking
that's-
about that. You're making a switch go on. Let's say the switch is off, the car, I don't know what the children play, the car or whatever. So that is right now, if your 2-year-old plays with it, all Shabbos, it's not Muktzeh. Period.
Simple, it's designated for Shabbos.
Okay. Let's he says, "V'chein kornus." Kornus is a hammer. Hammer shidduch by summer, in which they crush summer or spices. When komish mekpinu sheishtamish betashvish achash leislachlech, they didn't want to use it for anything else. Areisi muktzeh machnas certain kiss. It's muktzeh called a certain kiss because you don't want anyone to use it for anything else. Komish mekpinu lo mittel tag zurück from mikroimoi. Shakesh nachtarisa. You know, this is a pot. Now, this is very important. A pot, people don't realize, a pot is a keli shemach d'reisa. It really is. You only know how to move it when there's food inside. Now, our young children who rather play with the pots than with the trucks, right? You know, the 2-year-olds, they don't need these fancy, very expensive toys. They need a pot to bang. So the parents didn't need to buy expensive toys. They get busy with their silly things. So if you let it, that this every Shabbos the child takes out the pots and pans, it's not Muktzeh. You're letting them play every Shabbos with it. But if you don't, your wife is one of them that doesn't let them ever play with it. So a pot is a keli shemach d'reisa. But the tzedek gufa became allowed to move it. Let's say the child put out the pot and is banging away. It's the middle of the kitchen. You're allowed to pick it up and put it away. It's called tzedek mekayim. I don't want to trip over it. So pot, when there is no food in it, is a keli shemach d'reisa.
But if you
don't get this?
If you think it's valuable, if you have a value,
This is the value.
you can't use it unless with a sheet.
Pot's very well.
So what about after you finish the chicken soup and it's on you don't need the spot,
But
it's on the stove top.
there's soup in it.
You want to throw it out and then put it in the sink.
So that's another famous question. What happens if, I hear this from women all the time, that, let's say they put the leftover soup in a Tupperware and the pot stays on. Women say to me, I cannot imagine It feels like, worms creeping all over me, leaving a pot, a dirty pot out. And I've heard this from a lot of women. So that's called tzorich mekoymo. I cannot tolerate this to be right here. It's extremely annoying. So that's also called tzorich mekoymo. So I'll move away the pot and put it away.
You put it in the dishwasher, that's all?
Yeah, put it in the dishwasher. You wash it? I can't wash it. You're not going to make a chum. You can put it away in the dishwasher.
You can't rinse it out so it doesn't not really wash it.
It depends on the lady. I don't go into the kitchen. I don't know what they do. I've heard from many women, not just my own daughters, I've heard from lots of women, the younger generation, women and older, you can't tolerate. I don't know what it is.
It's not dry to put back.
What?
It's not dry to put back. You get it.
Well, depends on the lady. Yeah, it's hard to
Is
say.
there a distinction between, you're saying a pot, is that any pot, even one that's normally used to serve food in it? Like,
You're talking about when you serve.
No, to cook food, not to serve.
No, I mean like let's say like a crock pot, which a crock pot insert, you're cooking food in it, but also not usually, but many times that crock pot is brought to the table, people serve out of it.
Is it brought?
Pyrex is in, huh?
Your house, they bring the crock pot to the table?
Pyrex.
There.
White.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then if it's served, then it's different. Then it's mamish served.
Okay, so any pot that's also used for serving food.
Yes, if it's the way you describe it.
Very rare, Danny.
If the way you describe it, it's okay.
Pyrex would be a good
Pyrex.
example.
It's all the time for serving. It goes in all
Yes,
the
it's a judgment issue,
Right?
And then I have one on my table.
People.
No, I'm saying the clear dishes that you put in the oven, when you bring it right out.
Then it's not
like a lasagna or something. You cook it in the thing you serve.
The metal pans,
So then it's a dual purpose.
Okay, so let's move on. He says, this is a huge machlokes nowadays. And every few years I try to take a survey. You have white paper. I find if the husband works in a place where he has enormous amount of paper, he lets the children. I see my wife doesn't let the children just waste paper. Why do you take the paper for nothing? The question is paper Muktzeh? What is paper?
Is because it's used
Yes,
for writing.
it's right for writing, but maybe it's a chasam kiss too. So
it's not the
you
amount of
work
money.
in an office but use a lot of paper, so you bring the paper from the office. What? Yeah, because you work, and I find that it's true. I find that people who work in offices, a lot of paper, and they bring home paper, they don't care. I don't work in an office with paper. No, there's even a wife works in an office with paper, they're very macro in paper. I find that they look at a paper, they don't let just use paper.
Every time kids are in my office, the floor is covered with
Paper. And it annoys you.
No.
No?
Covered.
Yeah, he tells you the kids are entertaining.
That's the question.
It's
$5. Yeah, but the question was it was expensive. Nowadays, many of the Moshe Feinstein held that even though it's not expensive, it's Muktzeh. Others held not. Because children will make, airplanes and who knows what they do with it.
Alter Rebbe says it depends on you. Depends what you feel.
Yeah, but it's hard to say, It doesn't say paper. He holds not called a cave. But that's the question. Nowadays you let your children, do whatever, they want with it. Okay. Nimtzes lomet, shloisha min Muktzeh the cave. Shnayim yiturim betilto. To the shlishi usa Muktzeh mach besmias, Muktzeh mach b'shitzoisem b'shtashmish. These two are okay. And Muktzeh mach b'son kiss is also. The kids said the real strong Muktzeh is something which is chsarim kiss. I don't have a good notion nowadays besides the phones and unless people have certain things that you very might be unable to touch. The computer or
An expensive
laptop.
iPad.
What?
iPad.
All these things, right? All these things are expensive, but anything else, a hammer, a screwdriver, who cares? We don't live in a society with these things.
What about the car keys?
Are you let your children play with it?
No, I'm saying the
I
car.
don't have a son yet.
It's machmas issa, but it's not machmas the way you mark it.
The question is, do you?
I think most people car keys mount must start because you only have 2 car keys. You know, you break
You
one,
have to pay $100.
it drops a little water. You have to.
I keep playing with my keys the whole time, I don't care.
It means if you have expensive car key like you have.
No.
Yeah, there's the code,
You get a new one with the clicker, it's very expensive to get.
Yeah.
Just to get copies cheap, but to get a new clicker is very
So
expensive.
you don't let your children play with it.
Right.
Okay.
So then that's very good. That's Chasson kiss.
What if I need my keys to the door for Shabbos?
Yeah, you have to take it up before Shabbos.
If you forget.
One second. Isn't this a bus instead of a
That's right. So what is more expensive? The car key is more expensive.
My house, what is kosher? You need the house key. It's not what. I can't live without my.
Let's face it, if your children want to play the house key, you'd rather lose the house keys than the car keys. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Car keys are $100 to make, and that's $5, $10 to make. So that shows it's very, very expensive.
So on Shabbos, if that's my key, it's attached to the same ring, then I can't take it off.
Yeah, you can take it up.
I can't take it.
You should
You
take it
can
up
take
before
it with the
Shabbos.
shino.
How? You need to use
No, you must use
get it
the
off
key.
thing.
So
How are you gonna do it?
Oh, I'm saying you need to move it.
No,
Nobody
but
wants to use it.
I need to go to shul. I need
So
my
you
house.
want to take it off?
That's it, you have to take it up before Shabbos. I never thought about it. I never realized
I would
that.
much rather lose a $1,000 key in the street than my house key. I'll be scared to lose my house key in the street. Someone can come to my house. I
Most of us,
I'm gonna be in big trouble.
this is important. So what he's saying, you hear what he's saying. You hear everybody saying if your car keys are together with your house keys, it's mamish, Muktzeh, machmas, some kiss. The car key is very expensive. So you gotta take one before Shabbos, you have the car keys from your separators too. Because that's anyways we're gonna learn. You're never allowed to be so that it's supposed to for both if you could take it off. You can't say, well, the Ketchili have to avoid this. But for sure, it's expensive key. You won't be able to move the keys at all.
So if you drive Erev Shabbos to shul, they should leave your key.
Yeah, but I used to have separated, the car keys from that. You have your car keys, put it away, the car keys separate them than the house keys.
And your office key for the issue?
The key, it's not the office, it's question expensive the key. You lose the key, someone has an office key and you're just gonna make a copy. It's not their key is not expensive to make. I don't know how much it costs, but not expensive.
So essentially the test is if you let your kids play with it.
Right, and he says he would let his children play with it.
He says he's nice. He bet him.
If a man
No, but you would let your children play with it, would it?
Me?
Yeah.
That's the test.
I would. Car keys? No.
Would not. Right.
So a lot of this
My wife
stuff
does
is
that.
really subjective on a case by case basis.
100%. I told you I have a lady, a guy told me his wife lets the children, he's wealthy, but his wife lets his children play with the iPhone. It's the third iPhone he gets getting that phone. Because the children play with it, they ruin it.
It's very expensive.
And it's very expensive.
He said, what about the watch? Your watch is very expensive.
if you're not wearing one
A
of
watch is a
It's
case.
not for the have to.
That's why she doesn't play with it, though. She wants a new one.
But I'm going to answer his question. But a watch.
it's an electric watch.
This is a watch, battery watch.
No, the ones that are.
Digital, same
With
thing.
buttons.
Same battery.
No, the Tauber said, there's no old one.
That's a
He's got
separate
the calculator on it.
afraid
That's your
you
calculator.
might mistake, use it, but mistake. Not
That's
you
the only
shouldn't.
reason why.
I can't say it's Muktzeh, but
The distinction I see with the car key is that you're not worried like with the other things, it's very expensive and you're going to ruin it. You're just worried that they're going to lose it.
no.
But
He just
it's
said
not
if it
the-
falls
it's
into
not-
water, he said if it falls into water, it's gone. Finished. Can't use it anymore.
The one with the, what's it called?
The clickers, these guys.
If he says it gets into water, it's gone. Finished.
But most of us are worried about it's not an issue, it's not damaging the keys.
That's the truth.
Yeah, but it's expensive. You don't want the child. The bottom line is you don't let the child play with it. That's the
If you
bottom.
don't let him play.
If you don't let the child play
Every
with it.
Kaplan lets his kids play with his keys, I promise.
Okay, yes, what'd you say?
So it's not an issue whether or not they're gonna break it. The issue is if you're scared they're gonna lose it.
Right, whatever, yes, you wouldn't let them,
Whatever reason.
Whatever, any reason.
So we could be in the same house, and Benny's keys are books, and Rafi's keys are not. Correct. Because of the way they each look at their own keys.
Maybe I have to rethink this again, because I'm thinking, even though you don't want the children to play with it, but you would scratch your head with it, wouldn't you?
Oh, sure. I've seen it easier with it, yes.
And you would, and if you need to open something with a key,
So it's not a lot of
It's like saying, you're not worried about breaking, you're just worried about losing, that's what I think.
so maybe it's not even some kiss. You wouldn't let your child play with it, but you would scratch it here and you think that you want to, use it for.
Some people, they learn how to pen. That's the same idea.
Same idea, right? No, it is the same
The
idea.
kiddush malach, the last and early.
It means that it's not so kiss because you would do many other things. It is expensive,
But I would do the thing.
but you would do many things. You would probably scratch your hair. I mean, want to pick something up.
Yeah, with a bottle.
A bottle. What are you doing?
Sure, I just want my kids to play with your keys.
Yeah, you don't have kids. So when I change my mind about myself, it's not 100%. But it's a case of the list.
So say I can take it off the car, the key.
Yeah, then it's not so kiss, it's not so bad.
Right.
It's case it's made to open a car.
So occasionally like this, I can still move without a sheet.
So
therefore I can take the key off the
right,
key.
you can take the key off. So a car key is a keli shemalach telis. It's a regular case after they said that you have it so you get out of them. Let's say you forgot to take the keys off, so you have a bunch of keys, you just take it off. Now, so that's.
Now, are we only talking about the keys that have the mechanical, the digital, the electrical stuff on it, or any keys?
Any key for cars made to get into a car, which is what after this.
So back to the watch, if it's very expensive, it's Muktzeh?
No, this watch happens to be expensive, as I said. I'm not a collector of watch. Let me tell you what happened. Lately we don't find watches in the shoe, but years and years we have in my office a box of watches. We put up and said right away. So I asked, my watch broke. So I asked one guy who understands watches. He says this watch is worth $300.
How much?
$300.
Oh.
It works unbelievable. I have it 5 years. It was laying in the shoe 5 years. And we put up signs. Anyone lost a watch? I still have a bunch of watches. Who can waste so much watches? Even the janitor doesn't steal watches anymore. How much could he steal it anymore? It used to be watches used to disappear, doesn't it? The mashke, if you leave over, the morning it's gone. I'm saying, but this doesn't make a difference. It's occasion after the head. Then it's not. That's what the Rav says. And you should know this is a big tool. The Alter Rebbe, and this was. I don't know if you appreciate this, but this was a huge. I say tumult. I mean, it's a huge uproar, and the Chronim speak about it and argue about it. Most of Chronim agree to the Rav. That has to be Chesarukis, has to be Shemach Talisa. He was asking an expensive watch.
What's the shot that says if I can use it, like the case is marked the letter, why would it not?
But the bottom line is, you would never take it out.
But why would it be Muktzeh?
Because you don't want to take it out, move it from its place because it's
How is
an
that
antique
different
item.
than the watch?
One second, that's the
If you have a
Chiddush.
$10,000
And it's the winter. I'm explaining to him.
Maybe I'm not understanding something about the basis of Muktzeh. Muktzeh is something that.
Try to picture yourself. You have this antique thing in the closet. You don't want anyone to touch it.
Yeah, no, there are watch collectors. They have watches that they never wear. That they sit in a box always.
I have someone in my shoes who's a watch collector.
Right, and some of these watches go for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
He just got a watch for $3,000.
How much?
$3,000.
Yeah, that's not even that expensive.
No. Not about 3,000. They're about 300,000. No, really, they have watches that are hundreds of thousands of dollars. So a watch like that is clearly starting to kiss, but it's
it's not Muktzeh. That's what that's the idea. We don't hear how expensive it is. It's not the malach talis, it's not Muktzeh.
What about I thought there was like like a dress that you were gonna put in your store, or you're gonna give as a gift?
No. We're talking about strictly merchandise, which is business. We'll later elaborate more about it. That is so is even though Shabbat later. We'll later learn why. I want to skip that because the whole assimilated talks
Does
about
that apply to food as well?
No, not food.
If the cup is choy, it's a food for choy.
Even food for schoida.
Right, I'm saying like if I have a food store.
Yeah, food. You never make it up.
You never
I never see it that's what Chazal say. Food is never Muktzeh. Food is never Muktzeh, even though it's merchandise. Never. Even more. He wants no food, you hear it by side. If Mother says if a guy puts seeds into the ground to plant,
he can undo
Shabbos he decides to collect it. Come on, you put it to the ground to grow. You could pick them up and eat them. If it's food, you never see it does. That's only food. That's why we make so much examples of food, a blech and all the things. People are very connected to the food. No, you can't pick an apple. No. But we're talking about he just Shabbos put seeds onto the ground, which you want to grow. This is out of his mind. He already Muktzeh. The translation of Muktzeh means he pushed it out of his mind. He was Messiah Das. You know what that means? Set aside. It's out of his mind. The guy planted. So the Gemara says you're allowed to go pick it up the seeds and it's not Muktzeh. Because food is food.
Is there a difference between something that was, like, for example, the cup, let's say the cup back in the 1600s was made to drink, so therefore it's still made to drink even though its value went up. But if they made the cup originally to be, they made it out of whatever it is, that it's worth $1 million just made, so it didn't increase in value, it was made to look at. But it could be used as a cup.
It's occasional after that.
Same thing. Tauber says same thing. Doesn't matter.
Same thing.
The Stanley Cup. It's not one.
That's a good example, right? The Stanley Cup is a big trophy they give in hockey,
but it's a huge cup, but it's like silver.
But it's a cup.
It's a cup, and it's
Drink out of it. I think
they put a champagne out. I think so.
I think they celebrate.
They drink from it. The winners drink from it.
Okay.
Middle of Zion. The Yesh Oid with Muktzeh Nevi.
Welche Muktzeh Nevi, wie du mich Muktzeh macht, das ist wenn ich muss es. Wohl ist mit Shabbos, erst will Halacha is by Shini. That's the leichte. The Ben Shmush is Muktzeh, then he went off, and we'll learn the Shini. That's the whole seven based. So the whole seven Shestos came. That's when something has a Shem Keli on it. Aber Duva, Kol Shem Tois Keli, Me'ina Ma'achaludon. Remember, it's not food. Food never becomes Muktzeh. Get this straight. Food is it's also not food for animal feed. Not, put away. Stones, moose, money.
Why is money considered a keli?
This is
Never understood this.
This is an old kasha. Why is money not considered a keli?
It was made for a purpose.
Yeah, it's made for a purpose.
Just like
This is
a keli.
Just like a screw.
No, screw is different. The screw is because it's a part of something else.
I don't have a good answer. I really don't. It's an old kasha which the Chaim tried to explain. I don't know how a good answer. I don't know why. Why is money not called a keli after this?
So credit card is same as money?
Yeah, credit card is also. You pay makadam for some kids.
So is it a keli shemachal?
It is a keli shemachal.
Or is it like money? Like it's
a stock.
Is there a difference between money that's not valueless in and of itself and it's just representative of the value, and something that is value? So if I give you a gold coin that's worth $100, or I give you a $100 bill, there should be a difference.
No, today $100 bill is money.
check.
It is money. It's over the.
Right, no, a better example would be a check or an IOU or something.
That's a
Tachshir. What about
that's a kiddush but that is also
Tachshir is a keli.
that's a mix of some case.
The star would a check would be considered.
But it's a keli. It's a huge difference.
The question is,
This is not a kli at all.
right. The question with the Rabbi is asking, why is it not a keli? Money is made to transfer.
For purpose. It was made for this.
Only it's useless.
So it's making
It only works in a context. You got money until you are in the middle of the jungle and you have money, God bless you.
Yeah.
No, that's not. It's
But
it's made
the screwdriver also doesn't
position of a
have-
keli.
No,
It's only,
that's.
okay.
I just want to say the famous question is a passport an ID card if it's Muktzeh?
A what?
An ID card in Israel. In Israel they have to wear what is it called? That's a hood. And there it's legal you have to do, you know? In Israel it's a
Shabbos.
from it don't, but legally
Why is
you
it
get
Shiurim
arrested,
off the
you
list?
get maybe a fine on the stone. The Israelis tell me. And that's so they're from it, you know, they don't care. But legally, if they would stop you and ask you for ID, you could whatever fine they give you. That's a. But anyways, the person saying exercise that it is Muktzeh.
Why is it Kiddush off the list?
It's
How is it
it's
listed?
a passport.
Yeah, how's it listed?
Well, a passport is made to travel. It's made to get on the plane and off the plane.
It's not like the key to the plane, it's not like a seat.
It's
on
only
the
made
plane.
for that.
No,
That's
that's
all
what I
made
came
for.
on Shabbos, so it wasn't made for
It's
Shabbos.
only made for that.
So driver's license is made to travel,
Right.
right? We use it for many other things. We use it to get identification to go into a store.
Buy and sell.
You can't do it on Shabbos either.
Yeah, it's only made for that. See, in Israel, they have a right to stop you, ask you for ID anytime.
Just stop.
Same thing. You use a driver's license.
That's my question. I don't know why it's Muktzeh. In Israel, I was told, I don't know, you lived in Israel? No. I was told, I don't know.
Phoenix, you have to have identification. Your passport.
No, it's not true.
No,
You have to have your ID.
Anyway, you live up in Israel, you have to have an ID all the time? No.
Wait. But you could use, let's say,
But let's
a
say-
key to get into a bar. Let's say a kosher bar. It's not, you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Let's say you're going to have a drink on a shift date, you have to have your ID in order to get into the bar, right?
So again, that's made to transactions, so that's made.
Getting into a bar is called
What are you
transaction.
going to do about to buy beer?
The ID is to show that you're of age to
Age to
purchase.
purchase, it's everything made for purchase.
Driving a car or something.
The ID is made to drive, to purchase.
What if you live in a border town, or somewhere where you have to go from one local city to another local city, like, you know, small cities where you have to go from one country to another,
And you have to have
and you have to have
an
an ID.
ID. I claim those places, it's a case of the letter. If in a country is that you have to wear the ID with you all the time, then it should become a case of the letter, because it's not made for transactions. It's made for ID.
You already have to identify yourself as well.
You don't have to carry ID. You do.
You are.
If you're walking.
Police officer asks you for your ID, you're supposed to be able to produce identification.
Is that a legal law?
No, I'm telling you, an officer can never make me produce ID unless I do something wrong.
But they,
Can never make me produce ID.
Let me see. Yo.
no, actually, any police officer can ask you for ID and you have to give it to them.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you
Actually, I went through that.
Okay.
What was that movie? Let me see. Yo ID.
Jose, he says, yes, Jose du shesh loydes okay, let's move on. The koilis ufa b'chol, the kemech isa, flour is muktzeh, very, very important. Food is not muktzeh, but flour, the paskin is muktzeh.
It's not edible.
There's nothing you can do with flour, no one can eat flour.
What about
So this is very important, you have a pantry, very important. Potatoes,
Where's Muktzeh?
Sushi looks up.
You're not allowed to.
Sushi is
No,
not-
that's
Raw fish is looks
Yeah, but nowadays people eat raw fish. But what's the name? What it says? I asked the homeless many years ago.
My daughter, ask my mother,
My
ask
2-year-old in Russia.
But I asked the homeless who comes to the kollel, and I want to know what he lives on. So he says, Rabbi, tomorrow morning I'll bring you my food. He brings it, very good. He starts eating the potato raw. They eat the food that some people eat raw is never muktzeh. The times of the Gemara, meat was eaten raw and not fish. And how many people ate raw meat? Very rare. But today it's the other way around. Today sushi, people eat fish and not meat. So anything that's remotely people eat, food is not muktzeh. But flour, no one eats. Flour is mainly it's muktzeh flour.
Unless, but not goy, not a goy, not a goy.
It's not cooked. He says, Rames.
Listen, so remember when we were talking about in Hilchos Pesach, I said that the perfume that people would take out the alcohol and drink, so is the perfume muktzeh? Because
It's not muktzeh. If it's not a problem of comments, it's not muktzeh.
You can't use it on Shabbos though.
Why
You
perfume?
can spray perfume on
Just on
Shabbos.
your body, just on your
Why
body.
not?
According to you're allowed to spray on your body perfume. Shabbos is the one asks on clothing.
Exactly.
You're allowed to spray.
not,
Woman's allowed to on the body.
It's not Moed Recha on the skin.
And the skin is not the body loves.
But I know that it's okay, but I didn't understand the reason why. Frozen food, like it's frozen in the
Freezer.
in the freezer, and you need to move it around. I know it's okay, but what's the reasoning you can't
Because
eat
it's
it?
edible. You could defrost it and eat it.
If it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably can eat it frozen.
But not dough, not frozen dough.
No, but like-
Dough is muktzeh.
so frozen dough
Flour.
or any dough itself.
Yeah.
It's muktzeh because it's not even a cake.
It's not a cake. It's no
So you can't move it even starts from
Right.
raw.
Right.
So if you're rummaging through your freezer and you're
But
frozen
let's
dough,
say the pantry. My children, I remember it was a balagan, I used to tell them, you gotta keep the flour on the bottom. Because, when you come looking for Nasha Shabbos, in the pantry, you would move away the flour is muktzeh.
Not a cake.
Flour is muktzeh.
The flour, the barley, the rice, this type of stuff would all be the
Well,
same.
rice is,
we raw rice.
Typically,
Uncooked rice.
You ask the homeless guy, he ate the rice.
Now let me go another very important thing about Chaim. Baal Chaim is muktzeh, even though it's a pet. People ask me this all the time.
It wasn't made.
Chazal said that even though it's a pet, it's muktzeh. You're allowed to pat a dog.
You can hold it loose.
And you're allowed to walk with the dog on a leash Shabbos, even though there's no Eider. But you cannot pick up a dog.
Correct.
It's very, very important. People have small dogs, and I say they jump into the lap Shabbos. Teach the dog it's Shabbos. People ask me all the time. You can't be metal to it. So
You can walk a dog.
a leash. You're allowed to work with a leash because it's not called carrying. It's called walking with the dog.
In the house, you can't pick it up?
You can't pick it up.
No, it's also. All
Even if
pets.
it's your dog.
Even if it's your dog. A dog
You
and a
didn't
cat.
make it. You have to make it for you to use it on Shabbos.
No, I don't know. No, the question is, it is used for Shabbos. That's the question. What about Hilchos Muktzeh? Why is it Muktzeh?
My
It
dog
wasn't made. I understand the definition. Something needs to be made to be used
People love to
also on
play
Shabbos.
with People love to play with the
My
pets.
dog eats the food, no, I don't have a dog, but a dog eats the food under the table on Shabbos.
So what?
So you see, cleans the house.
So what?
They use
But the
it
dog
Shabbos.
wasn't made. You know, the dog wasn't made.
Chazal said that's Muktzeh.
That God name is different.
He said, "Chol yoytz kurvin anything to fill a duve shivu the tasha what is a tasha is what is a mikveh b'Shabbos." He says, "Konavuna she will you have a stone that you could break, crack nuts with it. It's roide shul chassid became you have a stone that you cover kelim. Chol yoytz when kivish ain't to the scale lane musel talto for the tzorah give from the stone, anything, a raw wood. Is not a keli, so just because I can cover it, I could use it for something, it's muktzeh. Again, so raw, this week we got off topic last week, raw material is muktzeh.
Like
Even
a
if you
screw.
put it, what do you say?
Like a screw.
Like a screw, and it's bricks, raw bricks, and a raw 2x4s, anything, these stones is muktzeh. Later we'll learn when is it okay, but generally speaking, it's muktzeh. Let's just learn one more. Anything you cannot eat, or something that's usabanua, or fill a ain't said within the supper, needed to the one, stam yeno, kiotzboy. Interesting, the Rab brings down the stam yeno is usabanua. Look, we say, perhaps you say stam yeno is not. But anyway, it's good. Fill a ain't said the boy be going back, you come table. Table shikha la sakna mo Shabbos l'achlo. And if Shabbos la sakna mo Shabbos l'achlo, it's also so you have a table. You live in Etzur. Right now, it's not edible, and people don't give it to dog food. It's a human consumption. It's muktzeh. So that's the only thing food that could be muktzeh. It's also banor, or there is no way you can eat it today because it's table or anything like that. Okay.
Go ahead.